Back on.
So let's
Um,
go.
all right. Am I up next?
Yeah, number 6. Yep.
Okay. Well, first off, we have our buddy Reed coming in. So Reed does a segment on the podcast where he calls it the Reed option. Can you open up the door for him? Reed,
Hey, Reed.
how you doing? Say hello to Tom.
Doing well. Mr. Mendoza, how are you?
I'm doing great. Reed, how are you?
I'm doing well,
My roommate.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm here. Oh, it's a little delay, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta get used to that. But I'm here because we do this thing called the read option. And so it's just this little segment, and I'm gonna come in and give you I might just go without the headphones here. So I'm gonna come in and then I'll listen to your response. I'll put them back on. But so I come in with a couple questions. They should be hard to answer. And kind of the option is like a play on words, like the read option in football. And so Tom, you're gonna be the quarterback, and I'm gonna exactly. So I'm gonna hike this ball to you, and it being the question, and then you're gonna figure out if you want to answer that question for yourself, or if you want to hand it off to your running back and then take the next one instead. So I'll read this question off, and then again you can kind of take that in. If you want to answer it, answer it. If not, let me know. We'll move on to the next one. All right, so this question is, and again, they should be tough. Don't have to answer it, but have you ever had to fire and or deny a referral for an ND grad, and what was the reason for that?
I did. Multiple times.
Okay, has there been a common theme through that, or have they all been pretty different scenarios?
They were different. But at the end of the day, if you're going to hire a friend or someone that, because of any reason, it still has to be a fact that if they don't perform, you're going to treat them like anybody else. Otherwise, it's nepotism, whether it's your relative or. And in both cases that come to my mind, I was very clear on what needed to be done. And they just couldn't do it or didn't do it. And it was obvious. And so my alternative was to artificially prop them up. But let me be as clear as I can be. Nobody enjoys firing anybody.
Right.
But I think what you owe people is clarity. You owe them to say, look, Carter, you're not performing up to what I expected. Here's what we agreed to. Here's what
I'm trying, Tom.
Yeah, sorry, Carter. But then I say, tell me how you're going to fix it. What can I do to help you? Are you getting the support of everybody? Do you think the challenge is fair? And if the answers are yes, if the answer there's an issue, I want to hear about it. So it's not a surprise. And over a period of time, I don't care if you're an ND grad, you're my brother. If you can't do the job, I owe it to the organization to put someone in who can. And I have had to do that.
Right.
Great question.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then,
by the way, I don't hand the ball off much on questions. So.
No, you took that.
I'm ready to hit
right around the end. I'd say you scored on that play. And so this next one, this is just kind of a fun one.
Sure.
You answered that first one, so you're not required to answer this one, but it'd be fun to discuss. So where are we at here? So if Notre Dame was to erect a statue of just one football player in their 140-year history, who would that player be? So Carter, do you have an answer? I mean, and then Tom, if you got one, go ahead and say it. But
my answer. That's a good question. I really love Brady Quinn. I think that just Brady Quinn, just the way that he commands himself and what he's done for football, just outside of being a broadcaster and things like that. I've loved him for that. Maybe Manti Te'o, because like dealing with all of the hardships that he's dealt with and how he's come back and really supported the school. It's hard to do, and we haven't erected one, right? There's just no
coaches.
I can see why not. I mean, first of all, football is such a team sport, and it's so many guys. My favorite player ever is Rocket. Favorite player ever to watch play football was Rocket when he was there.
Yeah, he came
The
to
person
mind.
I think that epitomizes everything that's right about Notre Dame is Bryant Young. If you saw Bryant's Hall of Fame speech last year, that's probably the best Hall of Fame speech ever given. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
I will do that.
He talked about, I think he said, my 5 kids, and you realize you only had 4 there. And he talked about his 14-year-old son who died of cancer. And I talked to Reggie Brooks, who was there at the hospital with him and stuff. And I've known Bryant for a long time. And, you know, they have the Len Eschman Award on San Francisco 49ers for courage. And the record was 3, and he won it 7 times. So,
Wow.
you know, you got Tim Brown, obviously a spectacular player. I love Manti Te'o. I love what he, and I was so happy with that documentary. I thought it was ridiculous when it happened, how they went after him. So Joe Montana obviously is on a pedestal by himself, but I'm not sure, you know, it would be kind of another question, not to say I'd ask the question, but who's the Mount Rushmore of Notre Dame football?
Ooh.
The 4. Now that is hard enough. Try to do that. Out of all these players, the 4 names that, and let's say after 1960, because before, you know, whether you don't, Johnny Lou Jack, who happens to be a friend of mine, all those guys, none of us have ever seen them play. We just heard. Right. So some point, because even in the 60s, you have film of it, right? You didn't see Jim Brown, but you can watch film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a great. Do you have one? Who would you put?
Yeah, a lot of the names that you mentioned definitely came to mind. I think the first 2 that came to mind were Joe Montana and Brady Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then Carter bringing. I didn't even honestly think it. Manti Te'o slipped my mind. I think I was just going quarterback, offensive player, and so I think that'd be a great one too. And I think another element to this question is just the fact that, well, not another element, but what's kind of unconsciously considered is the fact that Notre Dame football represents so much more than just the play on the field. And so even when we were just bringing up names there, like you, Tom, talked about, like receiving a courage award would factor so much into this decision. And then Carter saying someone like Brady Quinn that just embodies Notre Dame, not just performance on the field, but their livelihood and things like that. So there's a lot to choose from. And I think that those off the field characteristics play in so much.
I'm on the
hard to say. It's a political answer, but
foundation fund with Brady, you know, which is we're trying to figure out the whole nil thing. And so I'm working very closely with Brady a lot.
Cool.
And I say your read, Carter, is extraordinarily right. I mean, he is just such a good person. I mean, he lives what we espouse every day, right? He's a great example of it, no doubt.
Yeah, I'll be thinking about Notre Dame Mount Rushmore for a while now.
Yeah, we'll think about
question.
that.
Send me an
We'll
email.
have to put that on.
Yeah, that would be a great
figure
one.
it out. It's hard.
It is.
There's
for good
so
reason.
Many.
So
It'd be concerning if it wasn't hard, you know. But
yeah, that's right. If you go, oh, here's the 4. Do we have 4?
Right.
Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
He's a great guy.
There's so many.
And then Kyle Hamilton, he's back right now. I'm sure you know that, but he's at Mendoza finishing classes and everything.
I know.
We see him walking around. One of these days, I want to I want to catch a pass right near him and be like, "You can't go."
I had dinner with Kyle and his dad at Parisi's the Thursday before his first home game against New Mexico.
Wow.
And I said to him, "What's the biggest?" Their first question, we just met. What's the biggest difference between 6A Georgia football and being a freshman at Notre Dame playing? Without hesitation, he said, pre-snap. Pete Sampson was at the dinner with me. And we all looked at him like, pre-snap. I said, why do you say that? He said, in high school, I had 1/3 the field to cover. I hit anything that came into it. I ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
I took him out of the game. He said, here, they have me in the back of the defense, and pre-snap, I have to set the defense. And if I'm not in the right spot or I don't put them in the right spot, there's literally no chance to recover. I looked at Pete, I'm going, this is a 17-year-old kid's answer. Wow.
Yeah, you're like, we got a guy.
Oh.
And sure enough,
Yeah.
he had a great freshman season.
Oh, he picked up the first pass on his way for a touchdown that game.
Right. Man, that's great. Yeah, there's and that just IQ element to football is huge at the position of safety, quarterback of the defense. That's
Big
exactly
time.
what you need.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear.
Read.
Well, yeah. Hey, thanks guys Tom, thanks for fielding these questions.
Yeah,
Sure.
the read option.
The read
Great
option.
option.
Good option.
Eh.
All right, guys.
All right.
Catch
I
you
Thanks,
pulled
later.
it out
Reed.
of the belly.
Sorry, one more time.
I put it in the belly, but I pulled it out. Took
Oh, you
it.
pulled it out. Oh yeah, you scored
Got
on
me.
that play. You scored on that play.
All right, Reed. Hey, thanks so much, man.
Sure.
Thank you.
That was great. All right, Tom, we're coming up on time here. I know we've
Yep.
taken a lot of your time, so we're going to ask one more question. It's one that we always like to ask. What does luck mean to you, and what is your philosophy on luck?
Well, in general, Carter, I try not to use the word luck because I use the word fortunate. Because no one's ever hit the lottery and said, I got to give back. And if you realize that most of your success, what people look at as luck, there are all kinds of factors that went into it. You took a chance and then you got lucky. Or you had a good team, 3 or 4 people came together and together you were lucky. Well, the actual luck may have been meeting, but the good fortune is really you were fortunate enough to be in the right place, right time with the right people to make magic happen.
Truly.
Right. So I like to use the word fortunate because if you truly feel fortunate, then you feel like you should help someone else, bring them along. And I think that's a better way, healthier way of looking at it than luck. I also think a lot of people use the word luck almost disparagingly when they, all of my friends root for other people's success. And when they hear about success, they feel good about it. A lot of people don't want that. Hey, you got lucky. Jesus, lucky. That's
Haters.
not part of my life. I admire people, whatever, however they get what they get, as long as they did it legitimately. I admire people much more if they brought people along. I'm not big on single image people who treat. When we started NetApp, I was well aware that you could treat people poorly and still make a ton of money and succeed. You can get very far in this country. You could be president, apparently. But you don't have to do it that way. And when we started NetApp, we didn't want to do it that way. We wanted to prove you could build a great company. We built a Fortune 500 company, voted #1 in America to work for in 2009, top 10, 12 years in a row, and #1 in 15 countries. And that's your own employees saying this is a great place to work. It's like doing a survey of Notre Dame students in the business school. Is this a great place or not? It doesn't matter what other people think. What do you think? And if it's a survey where you're not signing, it's anonymous, you can tell the truth. Well, we built a company that people felt respected, appreciated. They wanted to do it because they wanted to win together. To me, so people could, from the outside, could say, boy, you guys got lucky. And I've had people tell me that. Oh, really? And it looked pretty simple, I guess, from the outside. There's nothing simple about building a $6 billion company from zero inside in a way that you could be proud of the rest of your life. So I like to use the word fortunate is the real answer.
Blessings. We always talk about blessings.
And I think this is part of Notre Dame's philosophy. I mean, you want other people to do well, you want to help them do well, and you want to be respectful and appreciative of whatever happens for you.
And that's why it's the Luck Management Podcast. We talk about luck, and we don't necessarily believe in luck so much. It's more of the hard work that you're putting into it. So you're put into that situation. What are you doing with it? How are you growing? How are you being better?
The Fortunate Podcast wouldn't have the same ring.
It doesn't hit.
I'd stick with the luck and then explain it.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming on and being our guest. This was an incredible hour plus of hearing these stories. You have stories for days. We got to get you back on in the future. But really, thank you so much.
All right, gents. Have a wonderful break. Hope you did well on your midterms. I have a feeling you both did. Enjoy the time with your family. Take care, man.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you so
as
much.
always, any last words, Alex?
No, just a big thank you. I mean, this is really special. I think, like you said, the people here at Notre Dame are really what make this place so special. And every day we're here, like everyone we've spoken to on the podcast has said the same thing. And that's really rare for everyone to have that
Yep.
same feeling. And it's just true. So thanks so much. Really
How
appreciate it.
about a Go Irish here, guy? No, Go Irish.
Oh,
Yes, go Irish.
as always, keep living the luck management lifestyle. Go Irish. Thank you. Peace.
Take care, man.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks.